All right, listen up. I want you to shred that stripper application. I saw you. I saw you go over there and get that application. I want you to cancel that meeting that you have with El Chapo's nephew. You do not need to be in the streets, okay? So what? You might have got an F or 5. Okay, so your GPA might be gas prices in the 1960s, but it's fine. It's fine. It's really fine. Right?
Miss B, I need help. I'm gonna drop out.
Can we not do that?
Okay, I'm being dramatic. Can you help me?
I got you. Hello, welcome back to Semester by Semester, your #1 resource for not just surviving college, but thriving academically, socially, and most importantly, emotionally. Who better than to guide you than me, your very own academic life coach and advisor, Miss B. Welcome to today's episode, okay? If you saw the last video, we went over the 10 plus reasons why students fail in college. Hopefully, if you did your homework, which if you didn't, go ahead and watch that. Hopefully you went ahead and reevaluated, did some soul searching, and now you're ready to rectify the matter in the next semester ahead. But you may be wondering, well, what happens when you fail in college? Or maybe you haven't failed and you just want to hear a cautionary, explanation of what might happen should you fail a course or fail an entire semester, have a failing GPA, any of the above in college. Now, I want you to first know, like I said in my previous video, it is absolutely okay to fail a course. Probably not what your mom, dad, grandma, whomever, your pimp might tell you about college, but I, Miss B, will tell you that it is okay. They're there. Come and lay on my flat bosom, okay? It is okay to fail in college, okay? It is not okay to continue failing. So again, rectify, reevaluate, all the R's, okay? And I want you to, really, make a change. But you guys might be wondering what happens when you fail in college, and it's kind of convoluted, okay? Now, I do not have financial aid expertise for you, so I am going to tell you when it is time for you to get back into classes, and when you are able to, please get in contact with a financial aid advisor to understand how failing may impact your your financial awards. I am going to touch on a couple of aspects of financial aid, but I do want you to make a note to reach out to your financial aid advisor to understand a couple things, but I will touch on them here. So make sure you have something to take notes with in case you want to gather some questions to ask your financial aid advisor or academic advisor at your school, okay? So a couple different things happen, but first let's talk about what it is to fail. So failing in college, in a nutshell, is going to be course specific, sometimes major specific or program specific. If your program has certain GPA requirements, make sure you do the research and look into that. In general, university specific based on what your overall GPA is. So there's 3 different ways that you can fail. Apart from, failing socially and emotionally, Christ, the list goes on, but academically speaking, you can fail at a course level, meaning you might have gotten A's and everything else, but failed and bombed college algebra. You guys are gonna hear me talk about college algebra every freaking video because I'm traumatized, okay? But so course specific, and sometimes it doesn't matter if you fail a specific course unless it's required by your program. We'll touch on this in future videos, but make sure you have a good understanding of what's required of you. Major wise, like I said, if your program has a specific GPA requirement, I'm going to use the College of Business, for example. So the College of Business at most universities have a GPA standard of maybe a 3.0 in the following business courses. In order to get into the College of Business, you have to have a 3.0 GPA across taking all of these courses with passing grades in all of them, because how else can you get a 3.0 if you bomb them? But that is a major specific, program specific requirement that some programs like business might have. So of course, to be failing in that aspect might mean that you might not have bombed the courses, but you might have gotten some C's and you might not be meeting that 3.0 mark, for example. Now, as at the university level, Failing looks like having an entire GPA of crap, okay? This is anywhere from a 0.00, and yes, I have seen that because it is when a student, for example, their first semester, they earn all Fs. Anywhere from a 0.0 all the way to a 1.99, that is considered failing, my friends. Yes, you have heard the saying that C's get degrees, but honey, if you have program-specific requirements, C's are not enough. And again, we are not here just to survive college, we are here to thrive, okay? Now, I want you to be mindful of that GPA requirement because not having that 2.0 GPA that I want to say 99.9999% of all colleges in America and beyond have as their standard will put you on academic probation. Look at how my shadows get. Academic probation is not the worst thing in the world, but let's talk about it, okay? What happens when you fall below that 2.0 mark? You are failing in college, and at the university level, you are at risk of, well, essentially failing completely. Now, failing a semester, failing a class is not really permanent. And with this, I want you to be mindful of what your university may have in place. But the universities that I've worked at, because I've worked at several over the decade that I've been in higher ed, so you can trust me, I got you. They have sometimes something set in place, such as a repeat to replace policy. Now, what is repeat to replace? Repeat to replace is when you fail a course, you bomb it, and you retake it again, and that new grade that you get, that new shiny, hopefully it's an A because you've rectified and reevaluated, and that new grade is then replaced in your college GPA. So this has happened to me, my first fall semester at Florida State. I didn't even show up to the final for college algebra. I already knew I failed that course. Way too much partying. Just go back to the video on failing. Like, I had like all of those reasons, okay? But just, I failed the course and I realized, rectified. So I failed the course, I bombed it. I had some soul searching and I realized, okay, we hate math, we can't do math alone. And I went ahead and got a tutor. When I retook the course, I ended with a B or B minus, I can't remember because I was like ages ago. When I retook the course and got that B, the university did a repeat to replace where they acted as though that previous F never existed. Here's the catch. It still exists. It is going to be on your transcript with a nice fat star, meaning it is not part of the final calculation for my GPA upon graduation, which is great. Keep in mind, this is your adjusted GPA, okay? Stick around on this channel. I'm going to teach you all about all the GPAs and everything to do with college, but you do have two different GPAs, okay? You have your institutional or your adjusted GPA, and this is what the school that you're at, for example, my FSU GPA when I graduated was a 2.8, and that was with the recalculations of all the repeated courses that I took. So again, it acts as though that bad grade didn't happen and that new grade is there instead. Now that second GPA is not as forgiving. Repeat to replace means absolutely nothing. That is going to be your true cumulative GPA. Now this is an average of every single thing that you've taken, regardless of what's been repeated or not. Remember, your adjusted GPA is a lot more lenient and will be a lot more forgiving and will act like, honey, it never happened. The other one is like, we saw you. We saw what you did. We know what you did last semester, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, the reason why that second GPA is really important is because financial aid, well, you know, they're not forgiving either. They don't play about the moolah, honey. They are looking at that cumulative GPA. Now, which is going to be more important to you depends on your personal circumstance. If you are a student that is currently on academic probation, well then you're going to be concerned about both, but more so getting off of probation so you don't get dismissed. Okay, that's not like, why did I do that? It's not that serious. But when you're on probation, you have sometimes 3 chances, or at least at the institutions I've worked at, they give you 3 semesters to get your act together. They encourage you to repeat courses, and they are waiting to help boost your GPA. So they want you to repeat so they can replace those bad grades with those new grades, and it's as if it never happened. So we're gonna insert a student, so I'm gonna explain this with Sally. Okay, Sally used to sell seashells by the seashore. She's trying to go to college because she's like, listen, it's getting old. Okay, I'm tired of it. So Sally made all F's her first semester at semester by semester university. Okay, so semester by semester university also has the repeat to replace gracious policy. So we told Sally, hey Sally, if you don't want to get back to selling seashells, if you don't want to go back to selling seashells at the seashore or stripping, get it together, repeat these courses. So Sally said, all right, calm your tits, okay? I'm going to retake the classes. I have reevaluated and rectified because I watched Miss B on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. See what I did there. And I am ready. So Sally comes back, it's spring, and she is ready. She is refreshed, and she pulls off a 3.5 GPA. Wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. So what we now do as semester by semester university with the repeat to replace policy is that 0.0 GPA that she originally had now turns into that shiny 3.5. Now we have to remember that second GPA is just as important as that first one. Now that Sally has this 3.5, she is no longer on probation because her shiny new adjusted GPA is a 3.5. Those F's, we never saw it. It never happened. Whatever. But in terms of her financial aid status, if you are a part of a scholarship system that requires you to have a 3.0. So for example, in Florida and Georgia, these are the two states that I'm most familiar with. They have scholarship programs called Bright Futures in Florida and Hope Scholarship in Georgia. Now your state might have it called something else, but some state scholarships that are given to you based on how well you performed in high school will require you to have a minimum cumulative 3.0 GPA across all your college credits. Now, this does not include AP, IB because there are no grades associated with those, just credits. So again, this is if you've taken classes at the institution that you're currently at and other transfer institutions, whatever that whole average is, well, that's going to determine whether or not you continue to get your financial aid. Remember, I am not a financial aid advisor. I cannot give you that expertise, unfortunately, but please reach out to yours and inquire about where you are. But Miss B is not going to leave you hanging and waiting forever on hold for financial aid to answer. I'm also going to give you a special resource down below. Not only on my semester by semester website can you get in contact with me in case you need some of my services so we mano y mano can talk about what's going on in your semester. You're going to find resources like this one, the GPA calculator. The GPA calculator is a nifty tool that you can use to calculate what your GPA would be, adjustments or not. So you can be able to see what it would be for either GPA that you're needing to calculate, okay? And stick around because on this channel, we will talk about GPAs, do they matter, how to calculate them, and I'll do a live example with you guys. But you can use that to kind of determine that. But so what happens when you fail college? Well, again, you get put on probation depending on your school's, policy in terms of, being under a 2.0. You usually have 3 semesters to get that together. You usually have a repeat to replace policy that you can take advantage of. So please make sure you inquire with your academic advisors back at your school, or if you want to enlist some of my services so we can get down to the bottom of it, we can figure this out, okay? But all is not lost, my friends. Do not give up. So that was the university level, okay? So we talked about that. You know what you have to do. Use repeat to replace, do better, have a conversation about whether or not you're in the right major. Now, that's going to bring us to the next GPA concern that we might have. If your major has a specific requirement, sometimes some majors are very, very, very like VIP, like they are barricaded and they only allow students in once they do perform well. And for those classes that you can take just outside getting into the program, sometimes they only allow you 1 attempt. They might not take you seriously if you need 2 attempts to get the grade that you should have gotten in the first place for that program. So be mindful of that. Like I said with that business example earlier, you need that 3.0 in all of those business courses. However, they might actually be lenient and give you 1 or 2 attempts. Look into that so you can get back into it if you are choosing to stay in the same program, okay? Now, if it is just a course, remember that other GPA issue, if it was just a course that you failed and you did great in all your other courses, maybe you need to think about what services you may need so that you do better in that course next time. Whether it's tutorial services like I needed with math, or whether it's a subject like chemistry and you're like, on second thought, pre-med might not be for me. You need to evaluate those things so that you can rectify. How many times am I gonna say rectify this video? I don't know. But you need to figure it out so that you can get into the next semester and have a better game plan about getting better grades, okay? So that's what happens when you fail in college. You are not a loser. You do not need to strip or sell drugs, okay, my friends? You just need to get it together and figure out how you can improve your GPA from that point. Get off of probation as quick as possible and get into a major that is right for you. Make sure you understand what all your options are, because a lot of students sign up for chemistry not knowing that they could have taken an easier science class. We'll get into a lot of that and more on this channel, but if you made it to the end of this video, my love is yours, my money is not. But if you made it to the end of this video, leave a star emoji down at the bottom and I will pray to the GPA gods for your GPA to improve, okay? Until next time, you guys, peace.